Hey team, today I'm going to be walking you through the 5-step lead generation plan to bring in as many leads and clients as you want in 2024. Now, I've worked with thousands of clients and businesses, and I just know that most of them fail because they do not put any game plan or strategy in place. They will just do random marketing, throw random tactics out there, and then they'll hope that it will just all come together with bubblegum and sticky tape. That's because they haven't put any thought into exactly what they need to do to win. So in business, it's not enough to just show up with your marketing and hope it will work. You need to have an exact game plan on how you want to win. And for the best businesses, what they're doing is they're figuring out that goal, that abstract goal of what is winning, and then they use marketing as a tool to help them to get there. A lot of businesses think that marketing is going to save them or to fix all their problems, but marketing just accelerates and emphasizes your existing business's state. So if your business is awesome and if you throw great marketing onto that, it's going to be like rocket fuel. But if you throw marketing onto a business that is fundamentally flawed and doesn't understand the economics, doesn't have a strong game plan, and has a shitty product, well, that's like throwing more fuel onto a dumpster fire. So there's two different ways that marketing is going to affect your business, and it's not always positive. So for today, there's 5 steps that we're going to walk through so that we can create your 2024 lead generation strategy. Okay, so step 1, and the step that a lot of businesses miss, is just to simply define what is winning. What is our goal? What do we want to drive towards? Lead generation strategy and your marketing as a function, it just exists to serve your business's goals. So what we need to do is make sure that we have clearly defined those goals so that we make sure that we have our key activities and a game plan that is driving towards them. So if you've ever been frustrated by your marketing results or you feel like it doesn't work, usually most people don't have this clearly defined, what they want to achieve, and then the game plan to achieve it, which makes it very hard for them to pinpoint what part of the strategy isn't working and what they need to fix. So they just keep throwing more stuff in there and trying more stuff, random tactics that never work. So the first thing that you're going to do right now is define the revenue goal. So when you're watching this, it's probably going to be Jan, Feb, March 2024, right? Now tell me where you want to be by the end of December 2024. Where do you want to be by the end of the year? What revenue do you want to generate? Once you know that number, then you can reverse engineer that number. So you've got to think about things like how much ramp up time are you going to give and allow to hit those. So you might not just divide that number into 4, you might need to have a ramp up time to hit that number. Okay, so I don't want to overcomplicate this. So you've got your revenue goal, and now there's going to be 3 ways to hit that revenue goal. 1 is make more sales, so getting more customers in through the door. Number 2 is to increase the price of what you sell, so that if you sold 10 customers at 1,000, you made 10,000, or what if you made that 2,000 and made 20,000? So that's the other lever. And then the third lever to hit that revenue goal is going to be how can you get those same people to spend more money and ascend them in the back end. So most businesses are obsessed with getting more leads and more customers, but they don't actually think about what can they do with their existing assets. So I'm going to take us on a quick side quest because I want to show you the importance of the economics. Let's just say that your goal for new revenue was 2.5 million. So in scenario 1, out of those 3 levers, all we focus on is making more sales. That's it. We're hell-bent on that. So we sell our product for 2,500 and we've got to get 1,000 new clients. That'll make us our 2.5 million. Easy. Now I know this is overly simplified. It doesn't take into account if you have MRR, etc. But I'm just showing you some simple quick math. But then we move into scenario number 2. So imagine if same goal, but we increased our price and our AOV, so average order value. So the ways to increase your price are to get better market selection, or maybe to solve a bigger problem, or maybe you just need to increase the price anyway, provide more value. Maybe you don't, but let's have a look at what happens. So in scenario 2, to hit our revenue goal for our lead generation strategy, we're going to increase the price to 3,500. Now already there's less clients to service. We do that in our company. I'd prefer to have 5 clients paying me $10,000 and making $50,000 instead of 50 paying me $1,000. That's a much easier business for me to run. Now, increasing the AOV, the average order values, this is on the first purchase. Imagine then if we can offer something else. There's something else that our clients want, another problem or something else we can do for them. And we just charge that as $1,000 and then only 10% take that up. Well, already our economics start to change where we've added an extra 71,000. And of course you can play with these numbers, right? I'm just showing you some examples. Let's say we move into scenario number 3 where we ascend people and we can increase the LTV. So here we can see we've got product the same as before, the 715 clients. Then we have the upsell, the same as before. But now we've figured out the second problem. There's a second problem. Whenever you solve a problem for somebody in a good way, in the most positive way ever, there becomes a new problem. So what problem can you solve next? And I want to show you this because this is making more out of our existing assets, which are our customers. It's much easier to sell something else to an existing customer than to try and get more. But most businesses and my clients are stuck on this treadmill of new leads, more customers, and they're never like actually servicing and figuring out how to increase the LTV on the back end of a customer. And that's what you want to be doing. How can you increase the LTV? So if you haven't got your retention down pat, if you've got MRR, if you haven't figured out the next problem to solve for those people, you should do that first before trying to flood your business with new customers. Because if you have a better system on the back end, then it's going to make your front end system much more profitable, and then you can spend more to acquire a customer. And then we can see here, if you only had a 20% take up rate on problem number 2, let's just say you even just had a 10%, even less, you only get 10%. That still adds an extra $357K to your bottom line. So that's what we wanted to be focusing on for the economics. Now, of course, then there's our marketing economics. So I was sort of giving you just like a bit of an overview on like business, but we want to squeeze as much as we can out of our marketing economics. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but let's imagine your average customer value is $5,000 and we've got a $5,000 budget. This is obviously more of like a PPC. You can kind of stretch this for Meta as well. And our cost per click is $5. Awesome. So this is why we have to know our numbers and know our economics, because otherwise it's very hard to scale a business and to hit your goals, because the whole point of this game plan is to reverse engineer what you need to do, your key activities to hit that goal. So let's imagine your landing page is a heap of shit and it converts at 2%. Now, those people that you book who are leads, only 60% of them show up to the call because the offer's crap and the messaging is no good. So you're getting like really low quality leads who don't really care. It's oftentimes lower than this. Now, out of those leads who do show up, only 50% of them are a good fit. For every 10 leads who actually show up, 5 of them are a good fit for you to sell to. Let's say you close 40% of them. Now, this is where we can start to actually reverse engineer the economics of our marketing to hit our business's goals, right? And I run through all of this in the sales process before I even bring on a client, and then I confirm it again in the onboarding. So we might get 1,000 clicks. We'd get 20 leads. Cool, but we don't want leads, we want buyers. So we'd get 20 leads, 6 of them would actually be good opportunities, and the sales team would close 2. So we might bring in 10K with a ROAS of 2. Not too bad, but could be way better. So let's imagine that our landing page is still woeful, but up to 5%. And because we get our messaging and we get our offer better and our landing page is stronger and our copy to get the right traffic through and we're targeting better keywords, whatever, our show up rate becomes 80%. And because we've done all of that in the marketing, now the good fits are up to 70%. And because we're bringing through more good fits, our sales team are spending their time on higher quality leads. And so they're actually closing, let's just put it to 60%. Let's have a look at how this starts to change the economics for us to hit our goals. So we're still getting the same amount of clicks. I didn't change the ad spend. I didn't make you spend more money. I changed the back-end economics and funnel metrics. So there's 1,000, the number of leads is 50, the MQLs is 40. This way you get 28 opportunities and 17 deals, and you're gonna make an estimated revenue of 85K instead of 10. So you can see how that starts to really change your numbers when it comes to your lead generation game plan. And it's the unsexy stuff. Nobody wants to figure this out. They just want to start doing and start executing. But if you don't take the time to figure this out, then it's like, what are you executing? Like, what are you actually doing? You have to figure out what you want to achieve and then match the activities to achieve it. So your action item for this step is to say, okay, I want to bring in this much revenue, and then you can work out how many leads you need to bring in, how many sales calls do you need to be having, etc. All right, now we've done that, we can work on the activities to bring in those high quality leads. We have to do that first. Now we can move into step number 2, which is getting very clear on our target market. So I have a lot of other videos on this, but I'm going to give you the important information that you need to know for this lead generation game plan for now. And the first thing is this: you don't sell a product or a service, you sell entry into a desired after state. You're a vehicle to get somebody from A to B, yeah? And you just get them to there. They don't particularly care about your vehicle, they care about the destination. Where are you going to take them and what's going to be that after state? So for you to make your marketing work and your lead generation strategy to work, you need to understand who are the lead, who are they? And they're real people, right? They're not numbers in a spreadsheet. These are real people with real thoughts and real aspirations. So the first question that you need to ask yourself right now is, what are we really selling and to who? Because you don't sell a product or a service, right? And so a very common analogy of this is if you go to a hardware store, you don't really want a drill, you want a hole. But that's not right either. You don't give a shit about the hole, you care about the cubby that you're gonna make with your kids and the memories you'll make, or you care about finishing the DIY project that your spouse is nagging you about, or you care about fixing this cupboard and the gratification of finally doing the handyman work. Whatever it is, you don't actually care about the drill or the hole, it's that desired outcome. Okay, so recently I went and presented at Traffic and Conversions. I'm one of their keynote speakers, and this is from that presentation. So I'm going to walk you through the target market segment now. So the first thing that we want to understand when it comes to our lead generation strategy is our target market are going to look at our marketing and think, so what, who cares, what's in it for me? And so when we want to create good marketing or a good lead generation strategy, we have to remember that it's inputs, outputs, and outcomes. And nailing this target market avatar is our number one input. It goes into our headlines, our landing page. It has to be in their words. It goes into the offers that we create. What do they actually want? What's their next micro step? And it goes into the sales proposals and the sales scripts. If we don't know this information, then nothing else works. So it's not good enough for your idea of your target market if you want to create a great lead generation strategy to be anyone with a pulse or businesses in Ohio or women over 35. Those are just things. Those are not people. That's not a person. When you create your target market avatar and you decide who your company serves, you want to get obsessed with them. The whole point of having a business is that you help someone to solve a problem. That's the whole point. And then you get paid in direct proportion to that problem. And if you want more leads coming into your business, then you have to understand what's going to motivate and persuade that person to become a lead and then to become a sale. You have to understand, well, why do they buy? Otherwise, it's very hard to create leads. And I think a lot of time people talk about like lead generation and it's like, oh, do cold outbound and do like Facebook ads, but they're talking about the tactic. And that's important, but the reason why your tactics aren't working is because you're not doing any strategy. So let me show you this. Because your marketing's inputs and outputs, we have research that goes into strategy, that goes into execution, right? If my team cooks something, if I cook something, and cook is an Aussie word for your effort up, or my clients, something's broken, I know it's in one of these phases. They did shitty research or they did none at all. Their strategy was crap or they did none at all, or their execution was crap, right? And then what happens is when you launch it, you ship your marketing, you analyze and learn and you adjust. And then this is it. You can always pinpoint in one of these sections where to go. Now, what happens if we put garbage into the research phase? Well, the garbage trickles down, baby. Garbage in, garbage out, and you get a big fat dumpster fire. That's what happens. And that's why when it comes to strategy, I want you to get the target market. I can guarantee you probably don't. You probably maybe like have some ideas swimming in your head, but you haven't spent the time to accurately write it down. And these are the things you need to understand. That dream outcome, because that's going to plug into your headlines, that's going to plug into your ad copy, whatever it is. The before and after state, so you can position yourself as a vehicle to get to that after state. What are their 3 big motivations? What else have they tried before? If you sound like something that's more of the same, they're not going to trust you. What's their number 1 burning question? How much education do they need? What are their false beliefs and objections? This is just some of the stuff you need to know, but it's going to make your lead generation strategy and execution much easier. Okay, so your action item for this part of your strategy is this. Think about who is your best customer. Not just like anyone, like just think, who have you served before? What is their name? And create their detailed avatar. I have other videos on how to do this. They'll pop up now, so you can click that if you need more help with your target market creation. Now we move into step number 3. This is your channel strategy. You might also think of this as your traffic, and it's where you will compete. Where are you going to show up? Now, most of the clients that we work with have one of 2 problems. Number 1 is that they're quite successful. However, they've grown on the back of word of mouth and referrals, and they never built a predictable, consistent lead generation machine. So it's very hard to predict the growth of their business. So it's very hard to put actions in place that are going to suit the trajectory, because word of mouth and referral are not consistent. And then number 2 is they might have an over-reliance on one platform. Often it's a paid platform, and they're looking to diversify their channel strategy. Okay, so when I think about channel strategies, I think of it in 3 different buckets: inbound, outbound, and strategic partnerships. So what I was talking about before with the 3 ways to grow, and then these 3 categories, these both come from Jay Abraham, who I've studied a lot for many, many years. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go and research that. But for now, let's have a look. So when we have a new client on board, I'm going to show you the funnel which goes to the right. But for now, I'm going to walk you through the traffic channel strategies. So we have our inbound here. Inbound can be paid like Facebook or AdWords. And when we say inbound, it just means they're coming to you. They've found you and they become a lead by coming to you. So Facebook, AdWords, you can have YouTube ads here, etc. Then content. So for example, our business uses LinkedIn and YouTube. That's an inbound way for us to get leads. But obviously content can also be TikTok, SEO, other things that are content and organic. And then there's your owned media, which is your email list. So I kind of put this in here under inbound, but what I want to get across with your email list is, especially a lot of my clients, I'll say, hey, how big's your list? And they're sitting on a list of 20,000 leads, and they do no nurturing. All they do is they just keep pushing all this money in. I call it harvesting for now. All they want is in-market leads right now, and they do nothing to build pipeline, which is what I call planting seeds for later. So they're spending all this money to acquire this attention and to get these leads. And if that person isn't ready to buy now, they do nothing with it. And so they have no pipeline. And then every month they're freaking out. That was just my side quest on email lists. The next one is strategic partnerships. So how can you do strategic partnerships, referrals, joint ventures? You might hear them said as JVs. Basically with strategic partnerships, the thing to think about is who has your clients before and after you. That's it. Who's already spent the time, money, and energy to build that relationship with your audience. And then they take a little bit longer to create, of course, but the great thing about strategic partnerships is that you get to tap into that trust that somebody's already built. And instead of fishing with a single fishing rod, you're fishing with a huge trawler. You can tap into those markets. So when we first started, different ways that we would do that is working with other agencies, kind of like an inbound strategic partnership play, but going on other people's podcasts. We just thought, who's already spent the time, money, and energy, or speaking at events as well, to capture my audience? And now I'm just going to go and tap into that and get in front of them, because it takes time to perfect your other systems. And then finally, there's outbound. I have a video on how we do our cold email machine, which you can go and check out. So for you, you might already have something working. So maybe you already get some word of mouth and referrals, and you want something that's going to be more predictable and consistent. Well, there's basically two channels that you can do that with, like that you can actually predict the numbers. One is paid acquisitions. That's what we look after as an agency. And it's only one component. You shouldn't over rely on it, but it's awesome because it will help you to scale. It's not where I would say to start though. So if you've already got something working and now you're looking to scale, that's when I would use paid acquisition. So that's for you guys. If you're you're a bit smaller and maybe you only want to get, maybe you're like, you only need a certain amount of leads, right? Maybe you're a bit smaller and it's like, I just need 8 sales this quarter. Well, then I'd be looking more to like strategic partnerships or outbound. With a cold or with paid acquisition, you need to have the money and the appetite to fail a lot and to figure it out. So you have to have the money to buy the data and to keep persevering. Whereas we started using cold email in our first 2 years because the way that we had to pay was with our time. And there's some software, but we just had to learn how to do it. And then that was how we paid. Whereas with like a Facebook ads or Google ads, we would have to pay money to learn. And we didn't have the money in the first like the first year and a half, right? Now, the other thing or the other component you might be into, which is a lot of my coaching students as well, is that you don't want heaps of leads. There's like a dialed in amount of people that you want. And really you just want hyper high quality leads because they're really, really high ticket. And so we call that whale hunting. And you still might use the same principles of cold outbound, but you'll do a much more dialed in cold outreach. We call it whale hunting. So what you want to decide now is which channel are you going to clear the room on? Now, you guys might be familiar with this from the Hormozi book, more, better, new. So if you already have something working, can you do more of it better to bring in more leads? You probably don't actually have a dialed in system on your existing channels. But if you don't have any channels, well, what's going to be the new channel? And then you need to stick at it until you make it work. That's the thing, right? Don't just run it for like a few weeks or a couple of months and half-ass it and expect it to work. Okay, and step number 4 is that messaging and differentiation. So if you want to bring in high quality leads, you have to have high quality bait and messaging, right? If you are putting out weak messaging that gets lost in the noise, well, you're going to become a commodity. And in marketing and in lead generation, you can be in one of 2 camps, a commodity or an authority. And so when we start to create our messaging and our differentiation and then our funnel, which is the last step, we want to come across as an authority because we're going to get better quality leads and then those economics are going to make it better for our company, right? Remember those economics we went through. So what we want to think about is what is going to be our messaging to stand out from the noise? What's the bullseye of the market so we can enter the conversation currently happening in their brain? What are the language and the words they use? So you can see if we didn't get that target market bit right, we couldn't do this. When I do clients messaging, I can't just make it up on what I think. And the client certainly can't tell me what it is because they have the curse of knowledge. It's very hard to read the label from inside the bottle. So they want to talk about all this stuff. And I'm like, I know no one cares about that. That's what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And the messaging has to tap into that bullseye, which is what they want to hear right now. And then as a very quick side quest, there's 2 different types of messaging that you might have. So you'll have like your core brand messaging or your business messaging, and then you'll have your campaign messaging. So these are 2 different things. And today I'm going to be focusing on that core brand messaging. I have another video on this, spoiler alert. So you can watch that for more in depth, but here is the template. So when I'm working with clients, we think about, okay, what do we do in 1 sentence? So this is your action item. Write this down right now. What we do. What do you do? Who do you do it for 1 sentence? What problem does it solve? And the result, the dream outcome. Again, you can't just like pull this out of thin air. If you had a target market avatar already done, inputs, outputs, you would already know the problem that they want solved and the dream outcome. And then you're just working on these 2. Then what I encourage you to also work on is to create your proprietary system. If you need help on this, you can leave a comment and I'll make a video on it. But effectively, you probably already have a proprietary system. You just don't explain it adequately. So you'll notice that we always name all of our stuff. PX funnel, we have different names for our products, different names for our systems, because I want it to feel like something new that people haven't tried before. If they think it's what they've already tried, it'll get triggered as boring in their brain and they'll just assume that it's not going to work. And then you can work on this positioning statement. Again, that's in the messaging video, so I won't go too much in depth on that, but it's very important for your lead generation strategy. Okay, once you've done those steps, then you can do step 5, which is literally mapping out how you're going to get leads. Now, when it comes to a funnel, they're not some random thing that funnel marketers and internet marketers and Russell Brunson does. A funnel is not optional. It's just every single touch point that somebody has with your business and your brand. And the thing about these touch points, each one's a potential revenue leak. We went through this in here, right? So if your landing page, which is a touch point, is crap and you don't know how to target the right keywords, and then the people you bring through, because you don't have any emails to help people to show up, is crap, and then the leads you bring in are crap, and then your sales team are crap, all of these are touch points, you don't make any money. It's sad times. So it's not optional, and I'm going to show you a lead generation funnel now. I have another video on this. The pipeline builder funnel will show you how to make this. I am here to help you. But effectively, when it comes to lead generation, what we're thinking about is the attract phase of the funnel. So a funnel goes through 3 parts. Attract, how do people find us and how do we turn attention into a lead? Then there's convert, what is our sales choreography to turn a lead into a sale? And then there's ascend, how do we leverage the assets of our customers? Now this is where you map out your onboarding, your referral process, your retention and your revenue. I won't get into all of these things because right now it's a lead generation strategy. And what you're gonna already know is, okay, I'm going after AdWords. That's the temperature of traffic. For AdWords, I need to have a landing page I can send people to, and that landing page is going to have this lead generation offer on it. So when I talk about landing pages and offers, this is an example of a landing page. One thing to do on this page, which is to take up the offer. This is another example of a landing page. They are for different temperatures of traffic. This is for Google ads, this is for Facebook ads, and they enter different bullseyes of the target market, and they both generate highly qualified leads. This one generates calendar bookings, this one generates form fields, which goes to calendar bookings, because our lead generation strategy and our marketing exists to serve the business's goals. So that's what you'll want to have, and then you'll want to have different touch points in your funnel. I'll go over a couple very quickly. One being the pre-swayed flow. So when somebody books in with you, before they have a sales call, there's dead time. How do you help to make sure that you limit the no-show and that they actually are highly qualified and educated? You might also want an opt-in page with a lead magnet to help build your pipeline. Again, that pipeline builder funnel will go over this for you. But what I'm trying to get across here for this funnels with your lead generation strategy is this is it. We've done the pre-work in the other steps. We know the target market, we know their language. So now we can write great landing pages that actually speak their language. We know our channel strategy. So now we actually understand, okay, Facebook's gonna go to an opt-in page and Facebook's gonna go to a landing page. AdWords are gonna go to a landing page. And then we've just mapped out every single touch point of the lead generation experience. And now you'll notice I'm not getting into the weeds of execution. I'm not getting into the weeds of here's how you do cold email, here's how you make YouTube videos, because that's execution. If you have the research and the strategy not right, doesn't matter how good you are at executing because it won't work. And today we're talking about the lead generation strategy. So team, that is it. To create a great lead generation strategy, you need to focus on those 5 things. Number 1, your business goals. Define what is winning, what is your revenue goal, and where is that revenue going to come from? How many leads does marketing need to bring in for you? What's your CPA? What's your LTV? What are you willing to spend to acquire a customer? Number 2 is your target market. If you don't spend the time on that in the research and strategy phase, then you won't be able to create a great channel strategy, you won't be able to create a great funnel, and you won't be able to create great messaging. Those are your inputs, your outputs, and your outcomes. Number 3, once we know our goal, who we serve, and where they're gonna be, we can then choose our channel and our traffic strategy, where we're going to compete. There's 3 different buckets: inbound, outbound, strategic partnerships. We wanna have a diversified strategy, but it's important that we clear the room on one, and then we move on to the next. Number 4 is getting our messaging and differentiation so we can stand out from the noise and hit the bullseye of the customer so that we can actually bring leads in. If you want to bring leads in, you need to have the right bait and you need to enter the right conversation going on in their head and show them how you can help them. And then finally, number 5 was the PX funnel. Once you know all of this, then you can craft the journeys that you want your leads to go through. How will you capture the lead? And then what are all of the touch points they're going to experience with your company? All right, I hope you enjoyed today's videos. And then as you know, there's other videos you can go and check out to help complement today's training. If you have any questions, or if you have a big problem, challenge, or goal that you want to hit in your marketing and business in 2024, just leave them in the comments. The way that I come up with new video ideas is by your questions and by your requests. So anyone that leaves a question or a request, then I will create a video to help you. Team, that's the end of today's training. If you like videos about how to get high quality leads with proven tactics and strategies, make sure you subscribe to the channel and I'll see you on the next video.